And if you also do not apply it in love, the love you give will become a kind of valueless because you give it a lot. It becomes like something that is so usual. So you should also ration the way you supply the love in order to let the love be scarce. Let your love be needed. Let someone search and ask for your love. So you give it, and when the person receives it, the person sees it as something very special in order for the person to value it. Hi and welcome back. My name is Chioma. Women with kind hearts find it a little bit stressful in relationship because relationship is not something one should go in without being strict. Putting yourself first. You need to care so much about yourself, your well-being, the love you have for yourself in order to love another person. Because if you don't have all this full package of having yourself in control in order to help another person, because if you're not getting yourself and you feel like you can't be able to carry on in the relationship, then it's difficult for you to stand on your own and say, I'm okay, I'm fit, I can go through this. Then it will be hard for you to help another person. Because that self-love that you have for yourself is exactly what we share in a relationship. The love you have for yourself is what you give a little bit to another. And if you see, sometimes you see that people who are not able to love are the people who don't have it. If you didn't receive enough love, enough care, if you don't have it in you, you can't give it. So that one you have in yourself is what is making you to give. And when you have too much kindness in you, at the same time too much love, then you are going to give more than you're going to get back. And most times it seems the people with the good hearts, the much kindness in their hearts, are the ones that meet the people who are like stoned, the people who are so self-centered, who care less about others, who put themselves first in everything. Because the kindness in your heart is not going to allow you to put yourself first. So this is why you have to like work on yourself. You have to be what you are not. After all, relationship is all about that. For you to please someone, you have to be what you are not. For this relationship to work, you have to be that thing that you will never be. Take and understand some things you do not have understanding for. Take for instance, you don't like to live without knowing what is going to happen the next day in your life, in the sense that when you have money, you plan for your money and you know how you want to use it. But now you people are two. You have to dance to the tone of the other person, and this person is the kind of person who maybe does not plan, that lives as it comes. So you have to put yourself in this person's shoe and do what pleases to that person in order to make this relationship work. So now you have tried to become somebody you are not. So if you keep going on with the kind of heart, that kind of heart you have, you will be a kind of hot. Some feelings will be hot because you are not in the same drive. You are a different person, and this person does not feel much for you as much as you feel for the person. And this heart you have is making you think much about what concerns this person. This heart is pushing you to do and give a lot than that person who cares less. And we hardly find this out from the beginning. It hides because we do not have much time to relate in every angle we will relate when we are in a relationship. It's like when we're outside the relationship or when we are not yet married, it's like we do everything so lightly. We don't just go deep into it. It's like we're dancing around everything, a little bit of everything, but we're not inside it. So we need a kind of strictness, not wickedness. We need a kind of strictness, like holding our hearts and our feelings, having them in control. Even when you need to say yes, that you say no. Even men need that. They don't really like a woman they can just push around anyhow and you just fall in and do whatever they want or things that please them. You have to kind of try to be a little bit strict, that when they want to bend you, you don't really easily bend, to have it a little bit easy for yourself to gain that ground. Because if you don't gain the ground, when some misbehaviors from you or from him comes in, sorry that I use this word misbehavior, I don't mean it in that aspect. I mean when the person do some things you don't like, some things that doesn't really fall into place, things you should not do to someone you love. Because sometimes we are pushed due to circumstances. Some things can happen in a relationship that we don't really intend to do, and we do it. So let's call this some misbehavior from human that will sometimes go out of line and do some things that does not please our partner. Then when we don't have that straightness in us, it makes our partner to go way out to do more to hurt us than we expect. And when we are also not that straight, it makes the partner not really regret what he or she has done, because the person think this thing I've done is not really so bad. It's not something I should apologize for like that. There's no need for me to think much about it. I just say it's okay, I'm sorry, and she will take it or he will take it. The person have no choice. And the person who is really in love, the main person who loves the person, one of the partner, is the one that suffers it more, because the person feels it more than the person who is not really in love, or the kind of people who don't take things serious. So to have a partner and be really safe, if you have a kind heart, it's better to have someone who is strict. There are people who keep to rules. They are not really rules to say. It's just this normal process in a relationship that you know, in order not to give the room for something that will regret to happen. So when we don't have that kind of being serious, it's going to disturb the relationship. So it's better for someone who is focused to somehow meet someone who is harsh. Because if the person is not careful, there is going to be a lot of misunderstanding in the relationship, and there'll be quarrel. Then before you know it, things are going so wrong in that relationship. Because with a kind heart, the kind of love and care the person gives, as the person is not going to receive it that much, it hurts. It's like working for years without getting anything in return. Living without having any aim of achieving. One is sowing, at the end, the person is not going to reap. This is why it's good for us to protect all this, to help us to rejoice. Because living is all about hope, about targets, what we are going to gain from everything we do. No one does relationship without gaining something. Who goes and relate to someone who wouldn't pay back, return whatever you give back to you? Love is all about receiving. And when you have kind hearts and you give and you give, at the end, you don't get something in return, or even equivalent, or do we even say half of what we have given? We can't keep pouring without receiving. So sometimes it's good for us to know some of those people from outside marriage or outside relationship, that these people are the people who are dedicated to pour in as much as we have poured in. We are human. We might not really do things the way you expect us to do it, but at least we can be able to see the effort the person has given in doing this. And another thing, this, you thinking that the person is giving his or her best, helps a lot. Because when we start seeing this negativity of the person is not trying, I'm going to put it in our mind and say, oh, this person is not giving his best, it disturbs a lot. Because no matter how much the person try, we are not going to see it. These are the things that disturb our relationship, mostly when you have a good heart. That good heart will start turning to something bad, because you have started bearing, counting some things that we are not done with feelings, some places where emotions were not shown. Then what you have in your heart start turning to no longer the kindness you used to know, because your heart is a kind of hot. And when the heart is hot, the heart feels sad. The heart no longer think of good thing about that person. So it's good for you to prepare yourself to be a little bit straight, because that straight, being straight, makes you remember that things could happen. And you being aware that this thing could happen makes the thing that happens not to be too strong or hit you hard, because you expected it, because you know this is going to be challenging. So it helps to balance it than coming in with all this good heart, soft heart, too much kindness. Yeah, kindness we should show, but not in a very soft way, like, oh, I am in paradise and everything is okay here. But when we know and we are prepared for what is to come, it doesn't take us away. This is all about when you have a good heart, that you protect yourself in your kindness, that sometimes you even say, no, I'm not going to do this. Just think about, you give someone money and you had intention that your partner is going to give you back the money, or is going to provide next time when there's need, and the partner did not provide it. And when you keep giving and giving, it means that your treasure will empty, because you keep being kind because of the kind of heart, and you keep being very nice and not straight. What will happen? You both will be poor. You people will become people who do not have, because of that little straightness you did not apply in the relationship. And if you also do not apply it in love, the love you give will become a kind of valueless, because you give it a lot. It becomes like something that is so usual. So you should also ration the way you supply the love, in order to let the love be scarce. Let your love be needed. Let someone search and ask for your love. So you give it, and when the person receives it, the person sees it as something very special, in order for the person to value it, and for you to have a good feeling about yourself. I mean, being happy, having joy in your heart, not every time thinking about bad things, wrong things that has been done to you, instead of repeating in your mind all the good things that you've received, that you've enjoyed. Even some people still stay in a place where they do not get good things. instead of asking for good things, because when your life is going like this, you have the right to direct it like this. When you're not receiving, you should ask, demand that things will be done for you, that you feel good, no matter how hard it is to ask for it. Because sometimes when we keep waiting and dying in silence, it might not also help us. Since we have made up our mind to stay in a relationship, it's better for us to demand, to ask, and the little we get might gladden our heart to make us to be happy, to sustain us in the relationship, in order for us to feel good and enjoy life and be happy for ourselves and for the other person, because the joy in us gladdens somebody's heart. Because when you see me smiling and laughing, you wouldn't know when you start smiling. Let's continue to be happy, but at the same time, as we have good heart and kind heart, that we know how to go about it, in order not to let our kind heart become something that will haunt us, because we are not using it well. Thank you so much for listening, for watching this video, for being with me. I wish you the best, and I pray you'll be happy and you continue to have a good heart and kind heart. Thank you so much.